They located the suspect and began approaching him and talking with him. The suspect ran from the officers. They gave chase, and he was taken to the ground in the grass. The officers tried to gain control of the suspect. He began struggling with them. One of the officers straddled his back and was able to handcuff one of his hands. A second officer and later a third officer arrived to assist him gaining control of the suspect. They were able to handcuff the suspect and get his hands under control. They rolled him over and were able to begin searching him, where they located a loaded firearm in his front pants pocket. During this incident, the suspect had stated that he couldn't breathe and at one point appeared to go unconscious, according to one of the officers. Well, the officer immediately got on the radio and called for medical assistance, and they rolled the subject over into a recovery position, allowing for a better opportunity to breathe and relax while they maintained control of the suspect. Once fire and IMSA arrived on the scene, they began to treat the suspect, and as they were trying to load him onto the gurney, he became combative, jumping and kicking at the officers. The suspect was ultimately placed in the ambulance and later became unresponsive. One of our officers got into the ambulance and assisted IMSA by performing CPR. She continued to do this until relieved by IMSA. The suspect was transported to a local hospital, later pronounced deceased. A couple of important things to note during the incident is the subject had mentioned that he was on narcotics at some point and was not cooperative with officers, and he was armed with a loaded handgun during the time of this incident. This case was fully investigated by the Oklahoma City Police Department and handed over to the DA's office. District Attorney David Prater reviewed the case and determined there was no misconduct or inappropriate action on the part of the officers. He cleared them of any criminal wrongdoing, and they were returned to regular duty. The medical examiner's office determined the manner of death was unknown and stated there was no fatal trauma to the body. For more information on their report, you'll have to get a copy from the medical examiner's office. But can I answer any questions at this time?
What's the protocol if a suspect or somebody that someone in custody is saying they cannot breathe? What is the protocol as far as officers and helping them to breathe?
Sure. So specifically in this circumstance, when the suspect began saying that he couldn't breathe, they ended up rolling him over into a recovery position to allow him a better opportunity to breathe. And they monitored his health throughout this incident. And you can hear them narrate on the video that he continued to have a pulse and he continued to be breathing. But that's the main thing, that they're monitoring his health. Is he still in good condition during the incident? And in this case, at the time, he was.
We understand that the suspect may have been asthmatic and that he had asthma medicine on him and that it was asthma medicine at the scene. Did the police see that at all?
I don't have any information whether that's true or not.
The family also says that there's a part of the video that's missing from when he was up and alert, seemed to be alert, and then he was placed on the gurney with chest compression. Where's that part of it? Is that part of it?
So I've released all of the video that we have on the incident. I'm not aware of any video that contains that. Once IMSA personnel took custody, IMSA and fire, of the suspect, and he was placed in the ambulance, in all likelihood, they would have turned their cameras off. You'll notice when the officer assists IMSA by providing CPR, she does turn her camera back on. I'm not aware of any other video that we have not released.
Is the police department reviewing policy as far as when they're restraining a suspect, sitting on them or putting a knee in the back or sitting on their legs? Is that going, we saw that in the video. Is the department reviewing those policies, or is that a safe way to restrain a suspect?
So the two techniques that you mentioned, when the officer straddled the suspect's back, he was able to do that. That's an academy-taught technique. And you'll notice that in the video, he starts out up on his abdomen area when he's straddling his back, trying to gain control of him. As they gain more control over the suspect and he's handcuffed, that officer is sliding farther down on the suspect's body to his waist and ultimately to his leg, not restricting any of his ability to breathe at that time. One of the other officers places her knee across the subject's shoulder blades, and that's taught in the academy. It provides a reasonable amount of control for the officers while not restricting airflow and offering the least likelihood of injuring a suspect. You have to maintain a certain amount of control, and you want to do it with the least likelihood of injuring the suspect.
What is the notification policy as far as the family tells us that